Ever wonder what happens when a Hollywood legend meets an unyielding wall of principle? A sleek private jet slices through the night sky at 35,000 feet, its polished fuselage glinting under a canopy of stars. Inside, the cabin hums with quiet luxury. Plush leather seats, mahogany paneling, and the faint clink of ice in crystal glasses. The cockpit, a fortress of precision, glows with the soft green of instrument panels, each dial and switch a testament to control in the chaos of the skies. At the helm sits Captain Ethan Caldwell, a grizzled pilot in his 50s, his weathered hands steady on the yoke, his eyes scanning the horizon with the focus of a man who's flown through storms and lived to tell the tale. His co-pilot, Lieutenant Sarah Vega, a sharp-witted aviator in her 30s, monitors the radar, her fingers dancing over the controls with practiced ease. They're carrying a passenger who needs no introduction, Robert Downey Jr., the man who turned Iron Man into a cultural icon, now a philanthropist of a heart as big as his charisma. He's en route to Seattle for Legacy Voices, a charity gala to fund oral history programs for seniors, a cause rooted in his grandmother's Depression-era tales. But the calm of this high-altitude journey is about to shatter. What happens when a star's vision collides with a pilot's duty? When the skies become a stage for a showdown? Buckle up, because this is one flight you won't forget. Have you ever had to say no to someone larger than life? Let's find out how this plays out. The jet's interior is a world apart from commercial flights. The main cabin, where Downey holds court, is a blend of old-school glamour and modern tech. Dimmed LED lights cast a warm glow over a small group of aides and event planners, their laptops open to spreadsheets and mood boards. A vintage typewriter sits on a side table, a nod to the storytelling theme of the gala. The air carries the faint scent of espresso from a high-end machine and the crisp bite of Downey's signature cologne. Outside the cockpit, two members of his entourage, a burly security chief named Marcus and a sleek PR manager named Lauren, linger near the door, their voices low as they finalize logistics. Downey, 60, lounges in a tailored blazer, his salt and pepper hair catching the light. His grin is electric as ever. He's scrolling through his phone, tweeting about the gala, when a spark of inspiration hits. He snaps his fingers, the sound sharp in the quiet cabin, and strides toward the cockpit, his energy like a storm rolling in. The door opens with a soft click, and suddenly, the cockpit feels smaller, charged with the presence of a man who commands every room, or jet he enters. Captain Caldwell glances over his shoulder, his gray eyes meeting Downey's. "Mr. Downey," he says, his voice steady, a faint southern drawl softening the edges. "Good to see you, sir. Everything all right?" Downey waves a hand, his cufflinks glinting, his tone brimming with that Tony Stark confidence. "Ethan, my man, I've been thinking," he begins, leaning against the doorframe, his smile half charm, half command. "We're over Ohio right now, aren't we? Columbus, to be exact?" Caldwell nods, his focus flicking back to the controls. "Yes, sir. We're on course, passing over Ohio, headed to Seattle." Downey steps closer, his voice firm, his hand gesturing like he's pitching a blockbuster. "Here's the deal. I want you to swing us over Columbus. Do a low flyover. Let the folks down there see this jet. My supporters, they'd lose their minds. It's a moment, a symbol, a legacy thing. They'll be talking about it for years." The cockpit falls silent, the hum of the engine suddenly louder. Lieutenant Vega glances at Caldwell, her dark eyes narrowing slightly, but she keeps her hand steady on the radar. The air thickens with unspoken tension. Caldwell's grip on the yoke tightens, his mind racing through the implications. A flyover might sound like a simple gesture, but this isn't a stunt plane. It's a private jet carrying a global icon, governed by strict FAA regulations, security protocols, and air traffic coordination. Deviating from the flight plan without clearance is a non-starter, no matter who's asking. He turns to face Downey, his expression calm but resolute, his voice measured. "Mr. Downey," he says carefully, "I hear what you're saying and I get the sentiment, but I'm afraid that's not possible. A detour like that requires prior approval from the FAA, coordination with local air traffic, and a full security sweep. It's too risky without proper protocol. Have you ever had to stand your ground when the pressure was on?" Downey's smile fades, his hand dropping to his side, His eyes narrow with a mix of surprise and irritation. He leans forward, his voice dropping to a more intense, almost theatrical tone. "Ethan, come on. I'm Robert Downey Jr. I'm not asking for a moon landing. It's a quick flyover, a nod to my people in Columbus. They're the heart of this country, the ones who've got my back. They deserve to see this jet. Make it happen." Caldwell holds Downey's gaze, his jaw set, his years of training kicking in. He's flown VIPs before, senators, CEOs, even royalty, but this is different. This is a man whose charm could sell ice to a glacier, whose presence demands compliance. Yet Caldwell knows the stakes. A mid-flight deviation could disrupt air traffic, trigger security alerts, or worse, compromise the safety of everyone on board. He takes a slow breath, choosing his words like he's navigating turbulence. "Sir," he says, his voice firm but respectful, "I have the utmost respect for you and what you do. But my job, my duty, is to keep you safe, along with everyone on this jet. A last-minute change like this, without clearance, is a risk we can't take. FAA rules, security protocols, air traffic control, they're non-negotiable." Downey straightens, his hands moving in an animated, Tony Stark way, as if he's trying to rewrite the script of this moment. "You're telling me no?" he says, his voice rising slightly, a mix of disbelief and challenge. "I've flown on jets all over the world, Ethan. I know what's possible. This is an Air Force One, sure, but it's my jet, and I'm saying let's do this. It's a flyover, not a stunt show. My fans down there, they elected me to be their voice, in a way. They're counting on me." The tension in the cockpit is palpable, the blinking lights on the control panel casting shadows across Caldwell's face. Lieutenant Vega shifts in her seat, her fingers hovering over the radar, ready to back Caldwell if needed. The Engine steady hum fills the silence, a reminder of the machine they're all entrusted to. Marcus, the security chief, peeks through the doorway, his broad shoulders tense, sensing the standoff. Caldwell doesn't flinch, his voice steady as steel. "Mr. Downey," he says, "I've flown this jet through thunderstorms and mechanical glitches, through every kind of challenge you can imagine. I've never compromised on safety, and I'm not starting now, not even for a flyover. If we deviate without clearance, we're talking potential collisions, security breaches, or worse. I'm sorry, sir, but my answer is no." Downey stares at him, his expression unreadable, his fingers tapping against his thigh like he's weighing his next move. For a moment, it feels like the standoff might escalate. Lauren, the PR manager, steps closer to the doorway, her phone in hand, ready to spin this moment if it goes south. The jet's cabin seems to hold its breath, the aides in the back pausing their work, their eyes flicking toward the cockpit. But Caldwell holds his ground, his eyes locked on Downey's, his voice calm but unyielding. "Sir, let me paint you a picture. If we swing over Columbus without clearance, we're not just buzzing a city. We're disrupting air traffic, pulling FAA scrutiny, and putting this jet, your jet, on every radar as a potential threat. My job is to get you to Seattle safe and sound for legacy voices. That's the legacy I'm protecting right now." Downey's lips press into a thin line, his hand running through his hair, a gesture that's half frustration, half admiration. He steps closer, his voice softer but still firm. "Ethan, you're a tough nut, you know that? I'm used to people saying yes. I'm not used to this. But you're telling me it's about safety, not ego. Is that right?" Caldwell nods, his tone earnest. "That's right, sir. It's about keeping you, your team, and this jet in one piece. I've got a daughter waiting for me back home. I don't take risks with her dad's life, and I'm not taking risks with yours." Vega glances at Caldwell, a faint nod of respect in her eyes, her hands steady on the controls. Downey pauses, his eyes flicking to the cockpit's glowing instruments, then back to Caldwell. "You're serious about this, aren't you?" he says, his voice quieter now, almost testing. "You'd rather tell me no than take a chance?" Caldwell meets his gaze, unflinching. "Yes, sir. That's the job. That's who I am." The standoff hangs in the air, the cockpit a pressure cooker wills. Marcus shifts in the doorway, his hand on his earpiece, ready to call for backup if needed. Lauren types furiously on her phone, drafting a tweet to smooth over any fallout. But then something shifts in Downey's demeanor. A spark of recognition, a flicker of respect. He straightens, his grin returning, but softer now, less bravado, more genuine. "All right, Ethan," he says, his voice warm, his hand spreading in a gesture of surrender. "You're a tough one, and I like that. You're doing your job, keeping us safe. I can respect a man who stands his ground. My grandma used to say, a good man knows when to hold the line. You're holding the line. Can one moment bridge a gap between vision and duty?" Caldwell exhales quietly, his shoulders relaxing just a fraction, his hands still steady on the yoke. "Thank you, sir," he says, his voice steady, a faint pride in his chest. "I appreciate your understanding." Downey adjusts his blazer, glancing at the control panel one last time, his eyes tracing the blinking lights like he's memorizing the scene. "Keep us on course, Ethan," he says, his tone lighter, almost playful. "But next time, maybe we'll plan that flyover ahead of time, huh? Get all the paperwork, make it a spectacle. My people in Columbus, they'd eat it up." He gives Caldwell a nod, a silent acknowledgement of the pilot's professionalism, and turns to leave. The cockpit door closes behind him, Marcus and Lauren follow in his wake, their voices fading into the cabin's hum. Caldwell and Vega exchange a quick glance, the tension finally breaking like a cloud parting. Vega smirks, her voice low. "You just told Robert Downey Jr. no. That's one for the books, Captain." Caldwell chuckles, his focus returning to the controls, the horizon stretching endlessly before them. "Just doing my job. Sarah, let's get this bird to Seattle." The jet cruises on, its engines a steady heartbeat, the stars outside a reminder of the vastness they navigate. In the cabin, Downey settles back into his seat, his aides resuming their work, the typewriter on the side table gleaming under the LEDs. He pulls out his phone, tweeting, "Big shout out to our pilot, Ethan. Man's got nerves of steel. Hashtag Legacy Voices is coming Seattle." The aides smile, the mood lifting, the gallus promise pulling them forward. Back in the cockpit, Caldwell adjusts the altitude, his mind already on the landing ahead. He thinks of his daughter, her drawings taped to his locker back at base, and the promise he made to always come home. Saying no to Downey wasn't about ego. It was about duty, about the lives entrusted to him. Vega checks the radar, her voice calm. "Clear skies ahead, Captain. We're on track." Caldwell nods, a faint smile tugging at his lips. He'd faced down a legend and come out stronger, earning respect in a moment that could have broken lesser men. The jet hums through the night, a beacon of stories yet to be told, of legacies waiting to be born. This clash, this dance of charisma and conviction, is what makes moments like Legacy Voices matter. It's not just about the stories we tell. It's about the people who carry them, the ones who stand firm, the ones who dare to dream big. So, what would you have done in that cockpit? Would you have said yes to the flyover, chased a spectacle, or held the line like Ethan? Hit that subscribe button for timeless tales to catch more stories that spark your spirit and stir your heart. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did Ethan make the right call, or should he have given Downey his moment? Should Downey push for that flyover next time, or was this a lesson in listening? Like, share, and let's keep this conversation soaring. Your voice is part of the legacy. Let's make it heard.